I want to welcome everybody to the evening sun. We had a pretty eventful week last week. I'll spare you the details. But just so that we can get this particular topic on record, I'm going to lay it down one more time. We were talking about this topic of nakedness for the last few weeks. And I think we probably have about 2 more to go. I'm going to try to wrap it up after that and then get into some other topics, some holiday season topics. But since we're on this topic of nakedness, let's talk about this story. As most of you can see in the title, we're going to be talking about the empire has no clothes. The empire has no clothes. And when we were children, most of us were told a story about this emperor who had new clothes. If we look in Wikipedia, we can get a summary of this particular story. It talks about 2 swindlers who arrive at the capital city of an emperor who spends lavishly on clothing at the expense of state matters. So here he should be spending the money on state affairs. Money is set aside for public works and for the people, but he is spending it lavishly on his own self-interest. These 2 swindlers, as they pose as weavers, they offer to supply him with magnificent clothes that are invisible to those who are stupid or incompetent. The emperor hires them and they set up looms and go to work. A succession of officials and then the emperor himself visit them to check their progress. Each sees that the looms are empty, but pretend otherwise to avoid being thought a fool. Finally, the weavers report that the emperor's suit is finished. They mime dressing him, and he sets off in a procession before the whole city. The townsfolk uncomfortably go along with the pretense, not wanting to appear inept or stupid, until a child blurts out that the emperor is wearing nothing at all. The people then realize that everyone has been fooled. Although startled, the emperor continues the procession, walking more proudly than ever. Here he is, obviously being caught, understanding that it's been a ruse, but he's still walking proudly as if nothing has happened. So we wanted to talk today about this empire having no clothes. If we look in Nahum chapter 3 and verse 1, we find these words recorded: "Woe to the bloody city." Woe meaning calamity, destruction, affliction, torment, and anguish. So woe, destruction to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. The noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels, and of the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots. The horseman lifteth up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses. just get a picture of this bloody city. It talks about how the horses are beautiful, jumping chariots. But how did they get these beautiful horses? How did they get these jumping chariots? How did they get this bright sword and glittering spear? It says, through a multitude of slain. There's no end of their corpses. I didn't say it. I'm reading in Nahum chapter 3 and verse 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcraft. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. This well-favored harlot, verse 4 says, who selleth nations. Whatever they see, they go and take it. Sometimes they sell nations. They sell particular people in and out of slavery. I just wanted to go back to this whoredom just briefly, not to get off topic, but sometimes we like this thing called Facebook. It gives us a lot of attention and a lot of influence. People nowadays call themselves influencers. They have a big following on IG. And if you have such an influence, sometimes they are willing to pay you a little bit of money. You get used to this influence. You get used to this money. You get used to this popularity or attention. And after a while, IG doesn't do it for you, and so you move on to TikTok. TikTok has this particular algorithm that when you first join, they will give you a lot of likes. They'll make your videos go viral that you become attracted or addicted to this particular application. And so once you're in, then those viral videos cease, but they've got you by that point. Once TikTok is not giving you the attention that you once desired, you might press on and open up an OnlyFans page. It's a slippery slope. And after OnlyFans is not doing it, you might find yourself inviting him or her to the house to get that attention, to get that financial boost. Be careful. Protect your nakedness. Ezekiel 16 says in verse 35, wherefore, O harlots, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God, because thy filthiness was poured out and thy nakedness discovered, through thy whoredoms with thy lovers and with all the idols of thy abominations, and by the blood of thy children which thou didst give unto them. Behold, therefore, I will gather all thy lovers, with whom thou hast taken pleasure, and all them that thou hast loved, with all them that thou hast hated, I will even gather them round about against thee, and will discover thy nakedness unto them, that they may see all thy nakedness. These kingdoms who have attempted to shift the blame, these kingdoms who have attempted to cover under their skirts, under their rugs, the abominations that they have carried forth. God says in multiple places and on multiple occasions that he's going to discover that skirt. And he is going to gather those who you have loved and even those who you have hated. And all of that shame that you have tried to hide, God is going to discover that nakedness. And I'm going to close today with Revelation chapter 3 and verse 15. I know thy works, that thou art neither hot nor cold. I would that thou were hot or cold. Trying to play both sides of the fence. They might say they believe in God, but what are the works showing? Verse 16, so then because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth, because thou sayest, I am rich, and increase with goods, and have need of nothing, and knoweth not that thou art wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. We see in these latter verses this God who understands that there are those who try to play both sides of the fence. He understands that there are those who feel as if they are rich. They don't need anything or anybody. They have such a proud heart. They feel as if no one can bring them down. God says, you think you're rich, but you don't realize you are really wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. But he does not leave us there. He said, buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be clothed. This God who gives us opportunity after opportunity to return to him, so that our nakedness be not discovered. What is nakedness? So if you go ahead and look back at the videos that we have done previously, we find out that nakedness is being exposed outside of the laws and the commandments of God. So this empire that has no clothes, Prophet Crowdy made an attempt to get the leaders to teach the people the 10 Commandments. But as of yet, they have failed to do so, and I pray that those that are under the sound of my voice cover, if you have any nakedness, cover it up. Do not be in a position to be exposed, caught naked outside the commandments of God. And so I thank you all for stopping by to listen. Like I said, we got one more installment of this, and we're going to move right on into these holiday festivities. But I want to invite you all to meet me once again on next week in love, joy, and peace as the evening sun goes down.